The crowd cheered, expecting an easy win. Under the harsh gym lights, sweat dripped from the ring ropes, and a man in torn janitor clothes stood across from a champion fighter, trembling but calm. Moments earlier, he'd been sweeping floors, humiliated and mocked for his skin color. Now he was forced to fight, just to prove himself. The trainer smirked, confident this would be another lesson in dominance. But when the bell rang, a single, thunderous sound silenced everyone. The sound of a fist connecting and a body hitting the mat. What no one knew was who that janitor really was. Darius Hill never planned to be anyone's fighter again. Once a promising amateur boxer, he'd left that world behind after a brutal injury ended his career, and his belief that fairness existed in the ring. Years later, he found work as a night janitor at Iron Fist MMA, a gym famous for its elite fighters and its arrogant head trainer, Cole Travis. Darius kept to himself, sweeping floors while others sparred, quietly watching the same arrogance and disrespect that had once cost him everything. To the trainers, he was invisible, just another black man doing the dirty work. They mocked his slow pace, made jokes about his weak hands, and ordered him around like he didn't belong there. Darius never reacted. His silence was his armor. But beneath that calm exterior, memories of his father's words echoed. "Son, real strength isn't in your fists, it's in your control." Cole, however, was a man who fed off control. He hated that Darius didn't flinch or bow. The more Darius ignored him, the more Cole pushed, eager to prove superiority. And when a few fighters skipped practice one evening, Cole found the perfect opportunity for his cruel entertainment. He called out across the gym, "Hey janitor, ever thrown a punch? Let's see what you got." The room filled with laughter. Darius froze for a moment, realizing every eye was on him. What he didn't know was that this humiliation would soon become the turning point, not just for him, but for everyone watching that night. The laughter echoed through the gym as Darius stood motionless, his mop still dripping onto the mat. Cole leaned against the ropes, smirking. "Come on, man, let's see if those hands work for more than cleaning floors." The young trainees cheered, pulling out their phones ready to film the spectacle. Darius didn't want trouble. He'd spent years burying that side of himself. The fighter, the anger, the pain. But he also knew that walking away now would only feed Cole's cruelty. Slowly, he placed the mop against the wall, removed his gloves, and stepped toward the ring. His movements were calm, deliberate, almost too controlled for a man being humiliated. Cole's assistant tossed Darius an old pair of sparring gloves. "Don't worry," Cole taunted. "I'll go easy." Inside the ring, the air grew heavier. Darius could feel every eye locked on him, their smirks sharp enough to cut. For them, this wasn't a match. It was entertainment. A reminder of who had power and who didn't. Cole circled him like a predator. "You ready, janitor?" He sneered. Darius said nothing. He didn't have to. He had learned long ago that words were wasted on men like Cole. He simply raised his gloves, a quiet signal that he was ready. The first punch came fast, a jab meant to intimidate, not hurt. Cole toyed with him, flicking quick shots, laughing between each swing. The crowd jeered as Darius barely moved. To them, he looked scared, frozen. But Darius was studying him. The footwork, the rhythm, the arrogance. Every move Cole made told a story. Minutes passed, and the trainer's confidence swelled. He shoved Darius against the ropes, shouting, "That all you got?" The room roared, but something shifted in that moment. Darius's eyes hardened, not with rage, but with focus. A memory flashed, his father's voice again from years ago in a dingy boxing gym. "The one who laughs loudest, son, never sees the hit coming." Cole threw another wide hook, careless and showy. And that's when Darius moved, a blur of precision, a lifetime of discipline compressed into one fluid motion. He didn't strike yet, he just dodged, effortlessly, gracefully, leaving Cole stumbling forward, confused. The laughter faltered. Someone muttered, Wait, he knows what he's doing. Cole swung again, harder this time, pride beginning to slip into panic. Darius ducked low, feet light, eyes locked. He wasn't fighting out of anger. He was teaching a man what real power looked like. By the time the round ended, Cole was sweating, his punches wild and desperate. Darius hadn't thrown a single hit, but somehow, he was the one in control. As the bell rang, Cole's smirk was gone. He spat on the mat, humiliated. "Next round," he barked. "We finish this." And as Darius quietly nodded, the entire gym held its breath, sensing that the real fight was about to begin. The bell rang again, but this time, the laughter had vanished. The gym was silent except for the soft creak of the floorboards under Darius's steady steps. Cole came charging in, no longer to show off, but to destroy. His pride was wounded, his ego bleeding. He swung fast and wild, fists cutting through the air, veins bulging in his neck. Darius dodged each strike like he could see them before they came, his body moving with quiet rhythm, smooth, efficient, deadly. Cole grew more frustrated with every miss. "Stand still, damn it," he shouted, throwing a heavy right hook. But that hook never landed. In one clean, effortless motion, Darius pivoted, dropped his weight, and unleashed a single counterpunch, short, tight, and devastating. The sound cracked through the gym like thunder. Cole's body froze mid-motion, eyes wide with disbelief, before collapsing flat onto the mat. The entire room went still. Even the fans stopped recording, too shocked to react. The so-called janitor stood over the unconscious trainer, his chest barely rising, his face calm, like a man who had simply finished a job. No celebration, no words, just silence. Then, as Cole's assistant rushed to the ring, someone in the crowd whispered, "Wait, that's Darius Hill, the Golden Gloves finalist, the one who beat Ray Mercer before the injury." The name spread like fire through the crowd, whispers turning into realization. The man they had mocked for his skin, his job, his silence, was once one of the most feared boxers in the region. Darius looked down at Cole for a long moment. He could have gloated, but instead he turned, stepped out of the ring, and quietly reached for his mop, the same one he'd dropped earlier. Without a word, he went back to cleaning the floor, the crowd parting silently as he passed. That night, no one laughed again. The gym never forgot that night. For weeks, whispers of Darius Hill's quiet victory spread through the city, not because of the knockout, but because of what it revealed. The next morning, the video hit social media, and what had begun as a cruel prank turned into a moment of reckoning. The comments poured in, not mocking but admiring. People called him the Silent Storm. Cole didn't return to training for a long time. His bruised face healed, but the wound to his pride didn't. When he finally came back, he couldn't look Darius in the eye. Maybe he realized that night wasn't just about fists. It was about respect. As for Darius, he never bragged, never demanded an apology. He went on sweeping the same floors, but something in the air had changed. Fighters who once ignored him now nodded with quiet respect. Some even asked him for advice, unsure how to approach the man they'd underestimated. Darius helped them, not because he wanted praise, but because he remembered the lesson his father taught him. Power isn't how hard you hit. It's how you rise when they try to keep you down. One evening, as he locked up the gym, a young trainee approached him and said, "Sir, why didn't you quit when they mocked you?" Darius paused, looked at the ring glowing faintly under the lights, and replied softly, "Because walking away doesn't teach them anything, but standing still and letting truth do the talking always does." He left that night like he came, quiet, humble, unseen by many, but unforgettable to those who witnessed real strength. And somewhere deep down, every person in that gym knew. Sometimes the ones you look down on are the ones who stand tallest when it truly matters.